Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is Guilty Movie Pleasures. In-depth discussion on movies, no matter how guilty they make you feel.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
What is up, Guilty Movie Pleasure fans? We are back with another week of Guilty Movie Pleasures, and this week we are coming in hot. We got a gale force wind and F5 of fun coming at you. We got 5 different Fs of fun right here with Twister.
Oh!
Yes, but I'm jumping the gun. Before that, I'm Ben Begley. I'm your host today, and also with me is my co-host. Give it up for Cameron Louis over here.
Hey, howdy ho, Cameron Louis at The Only Camp Chef, Twitter and Instagram.
At the Ben Begley at Twitter, and I have something else for Instagram, I think. I don't know. Who cares?
It's something. Just search the name.
You're not going to look for me anyways. It's
Yeah.
fine. But so this was actually your suggestion. This is yours.
So I thought I wanted to do this one a couple weeks ago, and we also had somebody comment on last week for Shoot 'em Up.
Who
Coaster Ninja.
Coaster Ninja.
Said we should do Twisters. So thank you, Coaster Ninja.
Coaster Ninja, if you're watching, I'd love to know the impetus for how you came up with the name Coaster Ninja.
Yes.
What's the origins to your YouTube pseudonym?
Who's a
I guess
Six
that's called an
Flags
avatar.
employee. Is it an avatar?
Is it an avatar?
I think you're right.
I'm
but
too
why?
old anymore. I don't know. Coaster Ninja. Was it like I'm gonna guess Coaster Ninja. Maybe you like to keep your tables nice, and your friends come over and try and put drinks down, and you're so fast with putting coasters out that they call you the Coaster Ninja, because before they know it, there's a coaster under there, and they're like, where'd that come from? The Coaster Ninja.
I think it could be that, or it could be he is a former Magic Mountain employee
Yep.
that would fill the seats on roller coasters when they were empty without anybody noticing.
Yeah. You just pop up and they're like, oh, you weren't in line. Are you a Coaster Ninja?
Jesus. It's Coaster Ninja.
It's Coaster Ninja.
He done it again.
Oh, I hope you have a ninja outfit, Coaster Ninja. Oh, well, thank you for requesting this. We're trying to do more requests from the audience and also throw in some stuff that we like, and it helps when it overlaps, which is what happened with Shoot 'em Up last week. And now, like I said, Twister this week, the Jan de Bont 1996 classic, which, by the way, I thought his name was Jan de Bont. Jan
I did
is
too.
Much cooler. Produced by Kathleen Kennedy, who's now doing all the Star Wars movies with
All over the place.
JJ, and I mean, she's been Steven Spielberg's go-to producer for the longest time. She's great. A friend of mine actually works with her and says she's fantastic. But this is my favorite thing about this, other than that the movie's awesome, is the back of this DVD case. It's rated PG-13 for intense depiction of very bad weather.
No, are you still
I've never seen a movie being rated PG-13 for intense depiction of very bad weather. So does that mean by the MPAA standards that the Weather Channel is PG-13?
Yes.
Like just...
If you've ever watched breaking news about like an earthquake or anything,
you better be 13 or have a parent or guardian there to approve it.
Tsunamis are NC-17 actually.
This doesn't even make any sense. Like this, and the more I thought about it, I was like, why wasn't this PG?
It should have been PG.
It doesn't make any sense. There's barely any, and it doesn't even say like mild language, because there is a little bit of swearing, but not much. But
Isn't the idea with the rating system that you're preventing like a 11-year-old from seeing something they wouldn't already be seeing?
Yeah.
Midwesterners see tornadoes when they're 2.
yeah, I mean, that's, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because I grew up in Ohio.
Yeah.
And when I saw this movie, and I will never forget, I want to know when you first saw it too, but when I first saw it was at a drive-in, and this is no bullshit.
Oh, Jesus.
It was at a
What?
drive-in in Ohio. It was Magic City Drive-In, I think it was what it was called. It was like 20 minutes from my
Yeah.
house. This is all very specific, unnecessary. But we were at the drive-in. It was a double feature. I can't even remember what the other movie... Oh, I know why I don't remember what the other movie was. Is because during the drive-in scene in this, no bullshit, where the tornado rips through the drive-in screen, it starts lightning off in the distance. And so in Ohio there are tornadoes. It's kind of flat in areas, and it can be an issue. And it was tornado season, and we're all like, "Oh shit, this is terrifying." It's like watching Jaws in the ocean. You know, why would you do this to yourself? And the second movie never played because this thunder and lightning storm came in, and we all had to leave. But it's like, so I will never forget.
Perfect.
I'll never forget watching a drive-in screen being ripped apart and being like, at a drive-in going, God, please don't let this really happen here. Please don't let this happen. Oh, shit. It was terrifying.
That is awful.
Because this movie, now that I live in California, it's more of like a fun disaster film. But living in Ohio, I would have recurring nightmares of tornadoes.
This brought back some memories for me. I remember the first time I saw this, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, and I'm from Missouri originally, and we have these things happen, especially during the summers.
Real bad.
And there's been several different occasions where it's been pretty close calls. One was 3 years ago. I was home for Christmas, and cars were flipping in my parents' neighborhood. And
at Christmas?
Yes, it was like Christmas, New Year's, and
Jesus.
Where my dad and I were out looking at a car.
Springtime then.
Yeah, I know. It was insane. It was like this weird warm weather pattern. Yeah. And my dad and I were on our way home, and we're seeing this storm cover, and we're like, we're going to have to get out of the car in a second. So we call my mom, and she asked us to pick up an onion from the grocery store, and we're like, no, not going to happen.
Fuck the onion.
5 minutes later, she calls, crying, saying something just hit the house. We get to the house. There's a piece of the church steeple in our driveway.
Oh, my God.
Cars are flipped. We open the door. She's red in the eyes. She's been crying. She goes, did you get the onion? No!
No!
What is wrong with
There's a church steeple in our front yard.
No! But there was one time when I was camping when I was little too, and we had a moment like the beginning of this movie where we're running and my parents are grabbing us going, okay, it's like go time.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
I don't think anybody who doesn't live in the tornado belt understands how scary tornadoes are. Like, I remember being in grade school and middle of the day looking out, sky was a little gray, going back to my homework or schoolwork, looking back out, completely black. It looks like it's nighttime out. The sky darkened that quick, and the tornado warning thing went off, and it ended up, it was a tornado watch or whatever, so it didn't actually touch down, but there was patterns that were saying it was going to maybe touch down. And I don't know if you had this tornado drill, but people in the Midwest will understand this. The tornado drill in school was to go outside, basically bend over by your locker on the ground and like kneel down and bend over and just cover your eyes and the back of your neck.
Yes.
So if glass came in, you were shielding your spine and your eyes. It didn't make any sense. And my dad even would make a joke at a very early age for me that tornado drills at your school were basically bending over and kissing your butt goodbye. He told me that. And I was always terrified whenever we did a tornado drill because, and at one point we even just stood up and did it like this, like just stood up like this.
That's probably just as good.
Like, okay, yeah, you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah,
if a tornado
this isn't going to help you when the vortex is over.
No, when the lockers are slamming on you, it's terrifying. So it's really like a 5 or 6 year old or whatever age, I don't know, I'm too old to remember that stuff anymore, but like whatever age I was in like kindergarten or first grade, 5 or 6, it's scary as shit to go out there and be like, okay, here goes. Teacher says we do this. Oh, it was so scary.
The sky turns green and it gets really silent. And
I used to listen to, if tornado watches happened, I would go and I had a specific place in my playroom where I had all my favorite toys in a box. And I would grab that box and like a photo album of my favorite family photos or whatever, and I would put it down in the basement. And then if there was a tornado warning, I would make my entire family go down there until it had passed. And they would get so annoyed. They'd be like, Ben, we can get down there. And I'm like, a tornado warning means a tornado's coming.
I did the exact same thing.
My
parents would be cooking in the kitchen. And the sirens are going off.
It's a warning. It's a warning.
The watch, it's like, okay, some dude's out there going, is there a tornado? It's not that.
Yeah.
The sirens are going off.
Yeah.
I was the same kid. I was bringing my parents down in the basement going, stop cooking the eggs.
You don't need an onion. It's go time.
No onions.
Hashtag no onions, Mom. Oh my God. It's so crazy to think of like how scary that was. And when those sirens went off, I just felt like my heart just sunk into my stomach. And I was like, no, shit, everybody down, everybody down. And I remember this movie, because 96, I would have been, 96. Well, I mean, I was 14 when it came out, but it was still one of those things where I had recurring nightmares of tornadoes. Oddly enough, as a kid growing up in Ohio, I had recurring nightmares of tornadoes, which made sense, and drive-by shootings, which did not make sense.
I don't understand that one.
Well, at like age 12, I saw a back-to-back feature at a friend's house of Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society.
Okay.
And it scarred me for life. I thought somebody was going to shoot me for a cheeseburger at some point. So like in Menace to Society. So it kind of messed me up. I lived in the most suburban neighborhood on the planet, and I would go out with my friends and we'd play in the front yard. And when a car drove by at night, I would yell, "Drive by!" and run to the back. And everybody thought I was kidding, but I wasn't. I legit was running to the back of my yard until they passed because I thought we were going to get shot. And usually it was just old women that lived down the street.
You know what, though? There's 100% chance if you do that you're not getting shot.
That's a good... Thank you.
I'm just saying.
See? That's what...
I'm just saying.
Corey, Casey, and Benny, you used to call me out on it.
We know you're watching. You do every week. Calm down.
You watch, every 2 months, you'll watch an episode that interests you. It's fine. It's fine. So you first saw this when you were a kid as well?
Yeah.
So you were like 8, though?
Yeah, I was 8-ish. Well,
Okay.
no, I was... when this came out? I guess 96. I was 6 when this came out.
Oh, God.
So, but I saw it for the first time when I was 7 or 8.
Okay.
And I remember watching it.
It's scary.
This is probably the reason I'm running to the basement when the sirens go off.
Yeah, and this is a movie, though, where disaster movies hadn't really hit me in a while. They were just kind of silly. But then when I saw San Andreas, even though it's a ridiculous movie, now that I live in Los Angeles, it was not as funny. And I almost felt like it was shaking in the theater at one point. And I'm sure it was my imagination. But the fact that I got legitimately scared during a Dwayne Johnson movie is hilarious to me. But it's like genuinely afraid of, not that the ridiculous nature of how big it gets, but...
Yeah, you're watching it going, I don't think that it's the equivalent of like taking a carpet and shaking it. But what if it was?
It would suck if it was.
It would be horrible.
Oh, man. So I think it's... before we do the plot in under 3 minutes, I did want to pose a question to the audience. If there's people in the live chat right now. We want to take a few minutes out of each show, and we're going to go through the plot, so we're going to give you time to respond to this. But we want to know what your favorite disaster movies are, and if any of you have ever been in a tornado or another disaster. Maybe you've been in a hurricane, or you've been in a giant earthquake. What are some of your experiences? What's the craziest thing that's happened? I don't know how this will work with a chat room in the YouTube channel, but we're going to try it because we want to start interacting more. Because that's what the interwebs is all about. That and lots of porn.
That's it.
So, we're going to do the tornado porn is the best.
My favorite.
So, we're going to do the plot in 3 minutes.
By the way, I'm nervous about this plot in 3 minutes.
It's
because there's like 2 things that happen.
2 things that happen, and then they just keep happening.
Yes.
I think we can figure it out.
Okay.
Let's figure it out. We're going to do this are we ready in the booth? In 5, 4, 3, 2, take it away, Cam.
All right, so Helen Hunt is little. She's tiny. She's miniature. She's living on a farm with her family in Oklahoma. Her dad's watching TV. A tornado is coming, and it comes big time. Daddy grabs everybody.
Yeah.
Mom is... I don't know. She kind of scares me. She kind of looks like a serial murderer.
Yeah.
They all run to the basement. They're the cellar. Storm cellar. Those exist, people.
And Toby, the dog, instead of Toto.
Toby!
It looks like a creepy version of Wizard of Oz.
It is,
like more extreme. It's
yes,
definitely
I think that's
an
what
homage.
It was. Yeah, overweight Dorothy. Yeah, all that stuff. So they get to the storm cellar. Dad knows that he has to keep that door shut because a human being can pull a door shut and prevent the tornado from coming in.
Why doesn't he just go down there and snuggle up with them because they don't get sucked up?
Idiot. I don't know. Anyways, Ben, what happens next?
So the dad's 40 seconds on the... Oh, man. So then the dad gets sucked out of the shelter, and she's like, Dad, no! Dad dies, so you have this whole dark
Tries
backstory.
to run after him, too.
Yeah, you have this dark backstory for Joe, which is Helen Hunt's character in the movie. So then Bill Paxton's character and his new fiance, they're driving out, and she's kind of like this Southern belle. She's just so happy to be here. And weirdly enough, Bill Paxton is bringing his fiance to go have his ex-wife sign the divorce papers before they get married. Super weird. You meet this motley crew of tornado... storm chasers, Philip Seymour Hoffman, that dude from that show who's now Agent May on S.H.I.E.L.D. He played her boyfriend. Yeah. Anyways, all these character actors that you've seen, poor man Steve Buscemi's in there, all these guys you've seen.
Ferris Bueller.
Cameron from Ferris Bueller. Anyways, they're all there, and they pick up that there's a storm, and they go, oh, cool. They go to see the storm. They have this technology called Dorothy, where it's going to release these little metal balls into the tornado, and they're going to get the sensors. Then they approach the first tornado.
Oh my gosh, the first tornado, it knocks over Dorothy. Dorothy's not going to work. Can't do it. And
the truck, right?
And the truck.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, make Dorothy heavier, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So Dorothy doesn't work. They find out after Dorothy, there's this guy named Jonas, the competitor. He's also made a Dorothy.
Stole Dorothy,
Bill
yeah.
is pissed. Bill wants to get revenge.
Yeah.
He almost punches him. God damn it, you stole Dorothy. If Storm number 2 comes.
Storm number 2 comes where that's where the tree branch, because there's 4 Dorothys they set up. So
Yep.
of course you know they're going to kick off each Dorothy until the last one standing.
Yes.
So then there's a giant tree trunk that kills the next Dorothy.
Yes.
Oh, they're so sad.
They irresponsibly drive across a cornfield and
Yep.
almost cause a car accident.
Yep. And then they go to Aunt Meg.
Yes.
We meet Aunt Meg, and immediately you love this character.
She's got food.
And lots of food, lots of awesome, fun times. Then the drive-in scene happens. Crazy. It's like the
30
craziest
seconds.
disaster ever. Cars flying in, this drive-in sign. Everybody lives somehow through it. And then they go back to Aunt Meg's where she's been hit by a tornado. Then you find out that this giant F5 is going to happen, which hasn't happened since,
Two storms combining.
Two storms combining to a mega storm. It's like the Voltron of tornadoes.
Jonas dies.
And then Jonas dies because he's an idiot. He's, no, turn, the tornado's going to get you. And then Bill Paxton, then the one Dorothy gets killed. And then the last Dorothy, the 4th Dorothy goes in there. Then they tie themselves to a barn and they hang out in the middle of it. And they make out and all their friends are like, yeah, we did it. Oh my God.
There it is.
Holy
It was more complicated than
shit.
I actually thought it was going to be.
It gets very complicated.
Because the Aunt Meg storyline, Jonas is a douche.
Jonas is a douche.
By the way, what did he say his was called?
Speaking of, here's Jonas. Where's Jonas's quote? The douche guy who's like, stick around. You might miss something. Sniffing the dirt, whatever it is.
Today, we're gonna make history. So stick around. Because the days of sniffing the dirt are over.
What a douche. First off, no storm chaser in the history of storm chasing got down on all fours and sniffed the dirt to find out where the next tornado was.
No.
He's just being an asshole.
No.
I mean, yeah,
around.
sure, Bill Paxton picked up the dirt and saw which way the wind was blowing.
That's not, by the way, I hope that that's not what tornado watch
By the way,
means.
I don't think... I just think that was a nice moment to have him have. I don't think it really means anything.
No.
I don't know. I'm not a tornado expert, though. These guys clearly are.
Yeah.
Carrie Elwes, douche
Yeah.
in the movie. Not in real life, I'm sure he's very nice,
Yeah.
but douche in this movie. And he's got this kind of sort of southern accent, but everybody sort of has one, but
I have a
not
theory
really.
about this. I looked, I don't have anything to back this opinion up, but they shot this in Oklahoma, right? Mm-hmm. They have a lot of car scenes. They have a lot of windows down. They're blowing a jet engine for the wind. The entire thing's ADR'd.
It really feels
And
like it. It feels like it.
It's like horrible ADR too. If you watch it, no offense to sound guys, but I mean it's a very hard process.
Yeah.
But I think they beefed up the accents in the ADR
It
thing.
definitely seems like that.
Because people in Oklahoma don't talk this way.
No, they don't. They don't. And it's I mean, you find that with even shows like The Walking Dead, where it's like, Carl! No, but why does the South have to... don't get me wrong, I love Walking Dead, and I love Andrew Lincoln's performance as Rick Grimes, but sometimes the accents get a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like when I was watching it, I was like, what the hell? Almost all these lines, even in just hanging out in front of a diner, seem ADR'd.
Yeah.
But I was watching the behind the scenes, and there were actual tornadoes touching down a few miles from when they were shooting a couple times. And so I think they were dealing with just crazy weather the whole time.
Yeah,
and,
that'd be a stressful filming process. My God.
And me with my fear of tornadoes, I would have been like, fuck this, I'm out.
You just see
ya.
the cloud and you just take off.
You're like, all right, I'm done. I'm not chasing
Going
that
to
shit.
Aunt Meg's.
Do we have anybody comment in the chat, Zach, or no?
In terms of favorite movies, we've got
Because I don't have my glasses, I can't read that from here. I'm an old man.
Hugh Hoyland says that Twister really is their favorite
It's so
disaster
good.
movie.
Thank you.
Brian Hurst says Twister, Dante's Peak, and Armageddon.
Okay, well, Brian, I agree with you on Armageddon. Dante's Peak, you know what? I've never seen Dante's Peak, actually.
I would agree with him on Armageddon.
I did see Dante's Peak, but I don't remember it.
But there's a debate though. Does Independence Day qualify?
Ooh.
No, we're talking natural disasters.
Yeah, I think Independence Day, although a disaster is caused by aliens, it is still an alien invasion movie.
Yeah.
It also takes what Titanic came up.
Titanic
out of
is
the running as well.
Titanic could be
Is that natural?
I would almost think that's a...
But that's something that they caused.
Yeah. It's like...
That depends if you consider the iceberg a conspiracy or not.
That's a good point. The iceberg was a conspiracy. I don't know. I'm on the fence about Titanic, because it could be... a natural disaster did cause. But to me, the iceberg was already there, and it was their ego that led them to that path.
See, I agree. It would be like a movie about a guy who gets in a car accident and hitting a cliff, and the cliff is the natural disaster.
Crashes into the ocean because they didn't have enough fuel in the plane. You know, that's not a disaster movie in my mind. But I don't know. What else do we got on that?
Brian's Jones and Hurst are talking about Armageddon versus Deep Impact.
Oh man. Okay, I call Deep Impact the basically the Lifetime movie version of Armageddon because Deep Impact. When I saw that movie,
that is scarily accurate.
I rented that movie on VHS, and I remember I was having a bad day at school or something, and like it's some stupid first world problem thing where it's like the girl I like doesn't like me back, and I was just feeling real down. And I watched Deep Impact, and I cried my eyes out at that movie because it's the most emotionally manipulative movie on the planet. It's just like when she's Téa Leoni and her father hugging each other, and she's like, "Daddy," and then the giant tidal wave hits them. It's like, what the? Spoiler alert! Sorry, guys. She and her dad get hit by a tidal wave. It's fucking brutal. They kill off everybody in that movie, and it's just devastating. That's what I like about Twister. Is that they only sacrifice the asshole? Like,
because there's a very real there's several times where okay, Philip Seymour Hoffman is gonna kick.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna go.
Or you think that Aunt Meg is dead, and then they save her, and I'm like, thank you, because
she looked very dead.
She looked very dead.
There was a house on top of her.
There's a whole house.
She's like, help me.
But Armageddon, though, they kill off Ben Affleck in it, and it works well, though. If you haven't seen it, it's 20 years old. It works, though. No, they don't kill. They kill off Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
But it works because it's that kind of like, it's one emotional moment. Deep Impact is like, here's another. Here's another. That's how I felt about, like, I won't give it away, but Southpaw, I felt like, is like this super dramatic cry your face off version of Creed, where it's not as good as Creed, but it just goes, here's another shitty thing to happen, and another, and by the end you're like, oh, fuck, life is terrible. I feel that way about
Requiem for a Dream. I know that we're getting, like, way off topic with Requiem for a Dream, but shit.
That movie,
you have to be in a good mood before you watch that, so you don't end your own life after.
Devastating.
It is.
Anything else? Anybody actually in a tornado or anything like that?
No. So far, I don't see anybody.
That's all right. That's okay. Well,
let
us know.
We want to know, guys.
Let us know if anything else interesting pops up, Zach. We'll keep on trucking here. But I do think it is interesting. And Armageddon is a fantastic movie. Have we done? Did Josh ever do this on it? We gotta do that if we haven't. I don't think. I never did it, but it's been like a year if it has. We got to do that eventually.
Armageddon.
This movie, it starts off very Wizard of Oz-like that we talked about.
It does.
And strangely disproportionate husband and wife. Like, she looks kind of like, she's scary. She's just kind of like, there's something weird.
I'm not trying to be mean, but definitely.
Yeah, there's something weird there.
Stark difference.
Yeah, so we'll move on from that. But you know what I mean.
Was that Aunt Meg at the beginning? It looked like Aunt Meg.
It totally looked like Aunt Meg.
Wait, where is Mom? That was never explained.
Does Mom just disappear?
Turns out another tornado got her.
She just has the worst luck. Joe just...
Shit.
This movie almost plays out like a... It plays out like a disaster movie, but it also plays out almost like a serial killer movie, where it's like, this serial killer just relentlessly keeps stalking.
Yeah.
And the one thing I wrote down while I was watching this is every time, and this is jumping ahead a little, but every time they get in the middle of a tornado, when the tornado hits and sucks up the yellow truck in the beginning, and they're under the bridge, and then when the two tornadoes hit when they're on the little whatever island, not island, but like, you know, the little,
whether it's like the strip in between the two ponds.
In between the two lakes or whatever. And then at the end again, when they're in the barn and they're holding on, they're strapped in. Every time they get in the center of a tornado, the tornado just goes and disappears. And you're like, what? Do they have magical powers where they just happen to be at the end of the tornado every time?
I think
where
they
it just dissipates?
By the way, I don't think it dissipates that fast in real life.
I don't think so, no.
It's more of a slow churn.
And that's what I found. That's the one thing I really love this movie, and I hadn't seen it in probably 15 years.
Yeah.
But that was the one thing that bothered me while I was watching it, out of maybe a couple other things. But the main thing was that every tornado action sequence ended with the tornado disappearing over top of them. Instead of like going off and disappearing somewhere else, it was like, that is very convenient. That every time they get in the middle of danger, it's like, All right, see
Well,
you. We'll
you
see you in a
know,
little bit. See you at the
also-
next county over.
If the tornado turns out he's just a teasing asshole.
Such an asshole.
Unless if you're in the center of a tornado, I think technically you're safe. If it's like, if it happens upon you, now you're probably going to be thrown around a bit. But you're not, it's like
That's
the
what I was-
edges that get going. But
I would love to fact check that because
Yeah.
I always thought the ending, not to jump in, but I always thought the ending was a little unrealistic with all, because they set up the barn has all those like sharp blades and barn tools, and they're like, not in here, no way.
it's the guy from Saw's barn.
Exactly. It's Jigsaw's barn. And or the Children of the Corn's barn. And they go to another one, but still that debris is somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I always thought that, like, my dad even pointed it out when we saw it at the drive-in when I was a kid. He's like, they would have gotten shredded in that tornado. Like, debris
That
would,
is true.
Debris would cross.
Yeah.
They would cross. It doesn't just go in a circle. It would sometimes fly. I don't know, maybe. We got to fact check this.
I think
would
we
they
need
have been shredded
Is there
in
a
the end?
meteorologist listening or watching
Yes.
right now?
If
Please.
so, let us know
Let us
if
know.
Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton would have been shredded by being in the middle of that tornado.
You spoke of the tornado over the top of them, and I want to ask you what you thought of the noise that these tornadoes make.
How they sounded like
In the movie.
growling Transformers.
They sound like
sometimes.
burping or something, right?
In the beginning, especially, it's like.
Well, there's a reason for that, Ben. I looked
Why is
into
that?
it.
Yeah.
And the sound of the tornado in this movie is actually the recording of a camel moan slowed down. A camel moan.
I hate that.
1996, we didn't have enough technology to figure out what winds. I love it though.
I love it and hate it at the same time because that makes sense why it sounds so terrible in moments.
It sounds-
and
oh
so
my God.
awesome other times.
There's a lot of burping happening.
It's because the sound will be very like and intense, and you're like, oh shit, and then you get distracted by a
As it like goes up.
what? It's just full now, so it's like see you at the next down.
Yeah.
All right, I got my full. I'm out. Peace.
That's exactly what's happened.
We do have a.
Especially when it went over Aunt Meg's house.
Speaking of the tornado, apparently the middle of it in Philip Seymour Hoffman's characters, I don't even remember what his character's name is.
Dusty.
First off, Dusty, I feel like, because I think this is one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's first movies, right?
Yeah.
If not his first. Because this feels like a movie that Jack Black would have been in, but maybe
Yes!
maybe at the time Jack Black, in my head, I haven't researched this, but in my head it was like, Jack Black's too expensive. We got to get somebody who can be like Jack Black. And little did they know they were going to discover one of the greatest actors of all time. Because Philip Seymour Hoffman is one. When you watch his performance in this, he's so good in it, but he's so different than any. You don't even.
He's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, because you can't even fathom that one day he's going to be Capote. He's going to be every
master.
single thing he's done since then. That's incredible.
Yeah.
When he's just this like happy-go-lucky, like, what's up? We're doing this. Whoa, we're doing this shit, man. In fact,
He has the water funnel in his truck.
yeah. It's incredible. One of his first lines is about how the tornado in the middle is the suck zone. Can we play that? The suck zone clip? Oh wait, I didn't hear it. What happened?
It's the suck zone.
Yeah. You
Went
know.
on a Tinder date last weekend, actually.
Yeah.
Went well, Ben.
Yeah.
Went back to the Motel 6. It wasn't in good shape, so we went to the Hotel 8? Super 8?
yeah,
Went
Super
to
8.
Super 8. Had a little caviar. I like to keep it classy. We went to the back. Yeah, you never know.
Fuck did you get caviar in a Super
Well,
8?
I felt bad about the Super 8,
yeah.
and so I felt like I needed to class things
And
up.
ironically, you spent more money on the caviar than the hotel room, so
Yeah.
it didn't balance out like you
and
wanted.
and I know what you're thinking. I pulled my pants down, and then I said,
It's the suck zone.
but that's not what happened. When I opened the caviar, I said,
It's the suck zone.
Because you sucked the caviar.
yeah, because she was a really big fan of caviar.
That's so gentlemanly of you.
I know.
You know, I used to, at Ohio University where I went to school, the football team there was terrible.
Yeah, yeah,
Whenever we would go see the games, everybody would just stay for the Marching 110 band because they were incredible, and then they'd leave at halftime. And the first game I ever went to, I was like, why does everybody leave? And they're like, well, this team just sucks. It's really bad. And I was like, well, what about those people that stay there and just stay the whole game? And they were like, well, that's called
It's the suck zone.
the suck zone because they
That's-
stay the whole
yeah.
time, even though they know it sucks.
My first job in high school, speaking of high school, was actually at a vacuum factory, Dyson. I don't know if you're familiar with the Dyson factory. It was a weird first day because I
Yep.
walked in, got the badge, got my ID card, all that, clocked in. And I walked into this room in the back, and this guy just says, hey,
sucks up.
Which is weird because
There's vacuums everywhere.
that was also I think Hoover stole that as their logo for in the mid 90s. It was like before this, so maybe this stole it from them, I don't know, but in the mid 90s there was this whole like kind of cheesy weird family campaign like, hey kids, you can clean up and don't worry, because everybody was like, this sucks, and so they were kind of trying to flip it on its head.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's fun to be in the
It's a sucks up.
But then people started to think that maybe there's a little sexual connotation to that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
And in fact, they made a porn parody of that same Hoover commercial. And the guy comes in pantsless with a vacuum and says,
It's a sucks up.
What was the name? How did they change the name Hoover for the porn? Do you remember?
that's what
I
we call
believe that was the blow verb.
There we go.
Yeah!
Yeah, but
That's
actually,
what we call throwing me under the bus and Zach coming to the
No.
rescue.
Just really quick though, this is actually a true one. The commercials, what is it, Tootsie Pop? They used to say how many licks take the center of Tootsie
Which
Pop.
is super weirdly...
They thought that was too sexual, so they later changed it to. It's the suck zone.
It's a sucks up.
And then there was in the background.
You know, when we try and set up a sound clip and there's that dead air space, I
Yeah.
like to call it...
It's a sucks up.
Yes! Yes! How dare you, sir?
Ben Begley throwing shade.
No, that was for me. I got this idea.
It's all good.
But no, so that's his introduction. It's the suck zone, and then one of the next things when the whole thing. Let's get to the whole the kind of relationship love triangle we have here that we brushed upon in the 3 minutes is that I cannot get my brain around why any human being would bring his, because at first you just think they're boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah.
Then you quickly find out that it's his new fiance. He must be newly divorced, or he's not even divorced
He's
yet.
not, no.
He's separated and on his way to divorce because he's bringing the divorce papers to her, to Joe, Helen Hunt's character. First off, who the hell jumps into things like that and just gets married immediately? And it's like one of these unnecessary plot points that they put in these kind of movies where I didn't need that.
No.
I would have been fine if like they were divorced and he just was like not having it, because I feel like
Melissa was kind of throwaway.
she's throwaway, and then they give her so many terrible lines, and then she ends up leaving just being like, it's okay, I'm not even that sad.
See,
and,
that's the thing, is you want to hate her so much.
and you can't.
And you
'cause
can't.
She's so likable, even though she's kind of like, they make her kind of the stereotypical just like city girl that she's holding like her cute umbrella as like just a tornado shredding everything, and she's like, oh, I gotta keep the rain off me.
They probably did that because it's like, otherwise you just have a bunch of storm experts and we need somebody to relate to, I guess. But I don't really relate to her that much.
Yeah, they needed her to be our way into it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't get why he would have brought the new fiance.
Doesn't make any sense.
If she was an asshole, then I would understand.
where
'Cause she'd be
she's
like,
like-
I'm gonna make sure you sign them damn papers, Bill.
But she's very inconsistent, because sometimes she's an asshole and sometimes she's really sweet. Like in the diner, she is a bitch to Helen Hunt. And I don't use that term often. I mean it because she is. She's mean to her. She's just totally goes alpha female on her and is like this is my territory. Back off. And it's like, well, I was married to him, and you're the new kid on the block.
Technically
so
still married to him.
Technically, I'm still married to him. Yeah. And I like that he doesn't notice that she has her wedding band on. She takes her class ring off and puts it like next to her wedding band as if he wouldn't notice that.
I think that is what hapappened, but it's still there.
It's
Like,
still
just
there.
take it off.
Why don't you just take the?
By the way, what kind of therapist is Melissa?
I think she's a relationship therapist, because we have a quote from her about marrying someone for a certain appendage.
We've talked about this before. She did not marry your penis. Oh, okay, all right. She didn't only marry your penis.
So, marriage therapist, I assume?
I guess, but is any kind of therapist constantly available on the phone?
Yeah,
That sounds like a horrible
She's always
job.
available on her giant Zach Morris flip phone.
I love those things.
I do too. Sometimes this would be so much more fun to just be like, hey, what's up?
I
hey,
know.
I'm gonna two-hand it.
Oh, Nokia bricks. You know, I have the bag phone in the car. That was my.
Oh,
favorite.
yeah, the bag phone.
Can you imagine how stressful it would be to be chasing an F5 and hear her in the background going, "Damn it! You didn't marry him for his penis." Blah blah blah.
It's just added.
Damn.
And also,
She did not marry your penis.
you know what? Tornado. Where do we go with this? It's so specific. She did not marry your penis. Actually, I remember after the Lorena Bobbitt case. I'm not going to go with
what?
that. Fuck it. You remember Lorena Bobbitt? She cut off her husband's penis.
Oh, God.
And in the courtroom, one of the main defense things was that...
She did not marry your penis.
So she can cut it off if she wants to.
That was factual.
That was factual.
That was actually factual. Actual.
Oh.
Oh, man. It's just so good.
I needed to take a breather from that one.
I need a camel moan.
I should have pulled a sound effect from the tornadoes moaning. But the thing, so then they go off on this whole this adventure, and one of the first quotes from Philip Seymour Hoffman that I love, one of many, is when he's cheering out his window, and you think he's gonna say something, but this is what he says instead: the woohoo. You're like, okay. Oh, what's he gonna say? Oh, yeah.
You know, I went to a haunted house with 15 people.
Yeah,
There
that's
was
a lot.
8 guys, 7 girls. I was the only one not coupled up.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I'm really excited to be there because I love haunted houses.
Who doesn't?
And I tried to get their attention. I tried to be part of the gang. I was really excited. And I was like, "Hey, guys!" They didn't pay attention. Hey, you guys! So you have to do the second woohoo because they didn't hear the first one.
I like to every once in a while go. I have a jet ski that I rent on the weekends.
Sure, yeah.
And I like to try and just cruise up and down the coast of Southern California.
Of the ocean, yeah.
You know, and just wait until I see a wedding on the beach. You know, and especially if looks a little too proper, I want to kind of shake it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just rip into shore and I try and I get as close as I can without getting the sand in my motor because I don't want to ruin it because it's a rental. And I just start yelling out to the bride and groom. I'm like, "Woo-hoo! Hey, you guys! Woo-hoo!"
You know, Ben,
They frown upon that.
there's only one reaction
frown
I
upon
have when I enter the suck zone, and it is...
I think for my 18th birthday, when I was taken to my first strip club and I got my very first lap dance, I think I just turned to my friends and went, "Hey, you guys! No, actually, the true story behind that is my first lap dance. This is a real story, not an improv game. First lap dance I ever got, I was so nervous that I talked to her about the guitar lessons she was currently taking for the
Oh.
entirety of the song.
Nice.
And
Did she bring a guitar out and play for
That would
you?
have been amazing. If she starts playing, at the time she would have brought it out and started playing Dave Matthews like every other person on the college green. So
That's
hey,
actually the
guys.
song that was playing in the background while she was giving the lap dance.
It's her favorite
It was
song.
amazing.
So we set up.
Suck some.
It's a song.
That's the best part of that. Oh. Suck zone.
The suck zone.
Philip
So-
Seymour Hoffman.
We already talked about how, this is, Bill Paxton, we talked about this before the show a little bit. He comes off as kind of a douche in the beginning. Like, bringing his fiancée to his ex-wife, being a total dick to his ex-wife. And Helen Hunt is lovely in this movie.
She's amazing. She's a hottie.
She's a hottie in this movie. She's tough. She's got kind of that Sarah Connor quality to her, mainly because she's in a white tank top as well, but she's got the glasses kind of like her, the blonde hair. She's tough. She's like she takes no prisoners. She's a shit kicker in the best way. And kind of a ball buster, but in a good way. Like you root for her immediately, and you don't root for Bill Paxton. And he has this monologue where he rips into her about how happy she is. He's just defensive from the beginning. They get in the car, and this is and so you can see why their marriage was ruined because of him.
Yeah.
But he likes to make it seem like it's Helen Hunt's fault. Let's do the "I'm happy."
You know what? As long as you're happy.
Thank you. I am happy. I'm a happy person. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with the way things are going
This
in
guy
my life.
sounds not happy
I'm
at all.
happy with
Melissa?
I know her name.
I know her
yes,
name.
I'm happy with
happy.
Melissa.
You
I am.
Sounds Sounds like he's talking to his mom.
It's like you come home from school and you're like, so how was school today, Cam? How was it?
I don't want to talk about it.
But
How was it?
are you happy? You seem happy with school.
I mean, I am happy.
How's your new girlfriend? How is she?
She's fine. I love her.
Melissa?
Yeah, I know her name. Mom.
It's exactly what it's like. Did you do your homework? Yeah, Mom.
Yeah.
God.
I did it.
I did my homework, okay?
You excited about the dance? God.
Yeah, I'd already told you about the dance.
God.
Come on, Mom.
But
Can we just change this tornado and stop talking about this?
Melissa.
He's such a whiny baby.
He
and
is,
it doesn't
but I
get,
tell you
it
what.
doesn't get any better when he sees Carrie Elwes' character. Because when he sees Jonas, we got that thief clip where he's still a little bitch about that. Just wait.
Dorothy, you took her, you damn thief.
You damn thief. And then he like tries to go after him. He's like, get off of me. And it's totally like two sixth graders fighting on the playground. And he's like, come on, you stole my toy.
I always love it. This movie, anytime this ever happens, but particularly this one, because I think it's funny to see Philip Seymour Hoffman run with hair. Anytime that Helen Hunt or Bill Paxton gets in an uproar about something, everybody drops what they're doing and just sprints towards it. Like, whoa, we gotta go, no, shit. Something's going down.
It's amazing. That's my favorite. That doesn't happen in real life. Maybe like 3 or 4 of you go, oh, okay, stop it.
You're like, hey, calm down.
I was thinking also how difficult it must have been to chase storms when you didn't have GPS. Like, dude from
How the hell are their
Ferris
computers
Bueller.
working?
Dude from Ferris, yeah, what are they hooked up to? Dude from Ferris Bueller is looking at basically a giant Thomas guide, and he's like, there's a freeway, and if you're not in California, you won't know what that. And if you're in California any time other than 10 years ago, you won't know what a Thomas guide was. But it's like a giant grid of the city roads, and he's like, all right, we got to turn left up here. If you made this movie nowadays, which they did, it's called Into the Storm, and it's not as good.
No, it's really not.
The tornado scenes are cool, but the movie's
They're cool,
terrible.
but this is a much better movie.
This movie's like the Citizen Kane compared to that movie of tornado films. But that's why like you can get away with things that you can't get away with anymore in films. Like we can't warn Aunt Meg because we don't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
And she has a landline and the landlines are down. You know, it's like all this stuff doesn't exist anymore. It's like if there's a tornado, there'll be a bunch of people calling and there might be a moment where the emergency service kicks in or whatever, but like there's stuff that happens in this movie that's so iconic to the 90s, like having a physical map.
There's
so good.
The equivalent of like a at-home desktop on your lap.
They basically
and just typing.
They basically have
constantly.
the same computer I played Oregon Trail on in my computer lab, just like 7 of them in
with
their
the
van.
5x5s, with the 5x5 floppy.
Where you have to play for like a 20-minute game, you have to put in like 90 discs, like every 5 minutes.
Green pixels.
Susie died of dysentery.
Oh man!
the
By the way,
greatest.
speaking of Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, this is an interesting fact about the film. Because of having to make the skies look black and all these things, they had to shoot high contrast and so they used really bright lights. And Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt both got retinal burns because of the high density
What
light.
does retinal burns do? How bad is that?
You just have to close your eyes for a while, I think, and medicate them. But it's bad because it can affect your vision long term.
Jesus.
But they're okay now.
They're okay now. That's
They're
what
okay
matters.
now, yeah.
So that
Maybe that's why Bill Paxton was so pissy, though.
He was, you know. In fact, there's another pissy line where they get stuck in the trenches and he can't get out. He's the worst driver on the planet. Because, like, at one point he's, like, yelling at her and he's like, what? It's, like, shortly after I am happy. And she's like, do you want to drive? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, then will you? And he looks and he's like, oh, shit. And he's about to go head on with a tractor. And he's like, oh. It's like, what? I've never been in a car where I'm yelling at somebody and I'm just like, you know what? This is it. We're talking. You know, he's just swerving so far off the road.
Yeah.
And then later on when he swerves into the ditch, and it doesn't look like that high of a ditch, and he's in a pretty hefty truck.
Yeah.
And he can't get, he's like, I can't get,
I don't know how to do it.
Driving like, you know, an I Love Lucy episode. How do we get out of this ditch? Or like how I play
going straight.
Or like how I played the game Off-Road in the arcade. Have you ever played that? Where you're just like, fuck, just turn the corner. God damn it. Anyway, so that's what he's like. He's like,
And he's only going like 40 miles an hour
he
the
could have
entire
easily
time.
gotten out of that ditch.
Yeah.
And then he
He's
crashes into the bridge, and then their superpower to make the tornado go away helps. Oh, it's so good. What else do we have here? We have the mini. Oh, I like that the corporate guys all drive in like Secret Service style minivans.
That's because they got the funding.
They got the corporate funding, and it was from what's a minivan company? I used to have a minivan.
GMC, Chrysler,
Chrysler minivan.
the town and country.
I drove a minivan out here with my dad to move across country from Ohio, and I had it chock full of all my stuff. And I remember I used to just drive around, and everybody was like, "Well, you picking up your kids from soccer?" And I'm like, "No, dude, it's just shut up. It's great. I can sleep in the back if I'm too drunk to drive." I did that a few times because I refused to drive drunk, but I would sleep in Venice in the back of my minivan. That was always fun.
That is a fun time.
Yeah, that's a fun time.
No risk of getting sucked up by a tornado in Venice.
You're not in the suck zone there.
That is for sure.
Actually, I think sleeping in the back of your van in Venice is the epitome of being in the suck zone.
Did we talk about the cow yet?
Oh, we got to talk
This
about
is
the
iconic.
cow. I mean, first off, the cow looks really. All the special effects in this look really legit for '96.
I have a fact about the cow.
Please tell me a fact about the cow.
The cow was actually a copied CGI zebra from Jumanji.
What?
It's the same thing.
That's
But
amazing.
they just changed it to a cow. But they copied it over.
I love it. They just cut and pasted that.
That's it.
The cow, so for those of you who haven't seen this movie in a while, the cow comes in the end when they're trying to track down the F... No, not even the F5. It's right before the F5. It's the F4.
the third Dorothy, I think.
It's the third Dorothy.
Yeah.
And there's these two tornadoes, and it looks like a lake or a pond, and they're in the middle of... They're in the little... What is that called? It's called
Peninsula.
something. Peninsula. They're on the peninsula between the two bodies of water, and they get caught up in this tornado, and a cow is flying around.
Yeah.
Because the winds are that strong. And we have a clip from that. Goes by.
Cow. I gotta go, Julia. We got cows.
Comes back.
Another cow.
Actually, I think that was the same one.
You know, when I first saw this movie, I thought that cow made a full rotation. He just goes back and forth.
No. How does that happen?
Because there's two tornadoes
Right,
that are competing.
It's like a cow ping pong game?
Yes, competing suckage.
They're the competing suck zones of cows.
Yes.
Back and forth. It's like a really elaborate game of Pong. I like that, where they use
Tornado
a cow.
Pong.
Tornado Pong.
Only the advanced ones play it.
And then one of my favorite moments in this movie is there's so many. What's your favorite disaster moment? What's your favorite destructo moment? Where
My favorite one is when they're driving towards the F5 and you see it building.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then it comes down on them, obviously. But it's just that big ass dark freaking funnel cloud.
Yeah.
It's just like, Jesus, that's a beast.
My favorite moment is when they drive through the house.
The house
Because
is
it
great.
ratchets up to Crazy Town there, and it's great.
amazing.
Where they're driving, and you think they're gonna get away, and this full-on house comes rolling like a giant house tumbleweed into the middle of the road, and Bill Paxton yells out, "I think we're going in," and it's so funny to me. Can we play that clip?
Oh my God! I think we're going in!
I love how long he holds on. I think we're going in.
I know. You know,
It goes forever.
I was at MacDonald's the other day. I don't often go.
Yeah.
But, I couldn't find parking, and I was getting really pissed off. And my friends were with me, and they were like, what are we going to do? I eyed up the drive-thru, and I said,
I think we're going in!
we crashed through it accidentally.
One of my first serious girlfriends in the beginning of college, I was a virgin still at the time. I was a late bloomer, and I didn't have any condoms ready because I wasn't even thinking about it. And I knocked on my buddy's door next to me, and he just handed me a couple. And so I ran back into my dorm room. I had the 2 condoms in my hand, and I looked at her and I said,
I think we're going in!
and then she went. And it lasted about as long as that sound effect.
That's probably my favorite one. That's probably my favorite one. And as a result, you entered
The suck zone.
the suck zone.
It's a suck zone.
That's my favorite. I think we're going in.
I think we're going in!
I also like Helen Hunt sounds like she's a person not even paying attention. You know how you do
Yeah.
that with your friends
Yeah.
where they're saying like, oh, something, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
I think we're going in, and she's like, ah.
Sure, I guess. Oh my God! One of my other favorite things about this movie, just real quick, because we're wrapping up towards the end, but holy shit, the silly music that happens throughout.
Joey
It's so good. Anytime they're like, we're going to chase down a tornado, it's like... Tornadoes!
It's like, you guys are going after a fucking twister.
It sounds like, I was trying to pinpoint what it is, and it sounds like something from like The Rocketeer or like some like Disney adventure film is what it sounds like.
It's, you know what, it actually reminds me, so this isn't in a movie, but this is the scenario I picture in my head when I hear this track.
Yeah.
You're in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
You're on one end of the park. You find out like your love is at the other end of the park. So you're running through, grabbing the cotton candy, jumping over the roller coasters,
you're gonna win her over
high-fiving the
candy.
kids. Yes. This is the music.
It's like Love Actually meets Home Alone-ish meets Disneyland.
Yes.
You're speeding through like the airport in the end of Love Actually, and you're grabbing that cotton candy.
This is when Charlie gets the golden ticket.
This would have been the music that played. I used to enter those contests as a kid where you could win a shopping spree, and I always would watch these TV shows where these kids got a shopping spree to like Toys R Us or Children's Palace and all these cool toy stores that barely exist anymore, and they just run through. And I just imagine that I would enter there and immediately go to the G.I. Joe aisle, and this music would cue up, and I'd be like
supermarket sweep style.
Destro, taking everything. I always do. Cheese. I just do this. I just claw it all in and just take it all. Oh, that'd be amazing. I think we should wrap up on that happy
I think
note.
we should too. I think we should go out on that.
I mean, that is definitely not going out on the suck zone.
Yeah, no, we're not going out.
That music is so happy.
Real quick, I have one more trivia.
Yeah, please.
This was the first movie released on DVD, and the last movie to be released on HD DVD.
Wow.
How about that?
Look at that. It's a trailblazer and a product ender.
It really kind of sucked at the end. It entered its own suck zone.
Well, once again, we have been here today talking. It is tonight. I can say that now because it's not the afternoon anymore. We don't do that. We do nighttime shows. Twister. Next week, we're going to do Olympus Has Fallen.
I'm very excited.
In honor of London Has Fallen coming out. And I'm going to try and see London Has over the weekend so I can compare a little bit without giving any spoilers away for you guys if you don't have time to see it. But if you haven't seen Olympus Has Fallen, watch it before next week because we are going to talk about Die Hard in the White House is what I like to call that movie. And it's awesome. Until next time, where can we find you, Cam?
At The Only Camshaft, Twitter and Instagram, Ben.
At the Ben Begley, and also funhousemassacremovie.com. We're going to have some more info coming out very soon. I know I keep saying that, but it's just contracts take a little while. And info will be soon, and the movie's coming out on DVD and video on demand, so you can watch it and tell your friends and all that stuff. And also, make sure to rate us on iTunes, give us some reviews there. It helps. If one review goes a million miles. And if you have any comments, start commenting on other movies you want us to do on the show.
Thanks again to Coaster Ninja.
Yeah, Coaster Ninja. Thank you for the suggestion today. And until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure? Oh, I still feel like I'm straddling a horse. I know.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.